Deep within the whimsical woods of Whimsyville lived an adorable family of woodland creatures. There was Mama Possum, who was known for her delicious apple pie. Papa Possum, who could build anything out of twigs and leaves. And their three curious little possums, Pud, Piddles, and Little Bit. One night, the possum family was fast asleep when suddenly Pidge, the smallest of the three possum siblings, woke up. He looked over at his two sleeping brothers and sisters and then outside the window. What was supposed to be a beautiful, bright full moon was nowhere to be seen. "Wake up, Piddles, wake up, Little Bit," he whispered urgently. "The moon has disappeared." His siblings yawned and stretched and at first didn't understand what he was talking about. But when they looked up and realized that their cozy nighttime view of the moon was blocked by impenetrable darkness, they were wide awake and a little bit scared. "Don't worry, I'm sure it'll come back," said Mama Possum sleepily. Though she, too, couldn't help but feel a little uneasy when she noticed that the moon was missing. As the night wore on, the animals in Hoot Hollow woke up, one by one, confused and a little scared by the unfamiliar darkness. "Where is the moon?" cried Beatrice Blue Jay, whose nightly lullabies always included singing about the moon. "It's gone," squeaked a tiny field mouse, hiding in the tall grass. "I've never seen anything like this before," croaked Ribbit the frog, nervously peering out from under his lily pad. As the animals continued to wonder where the moon had gone, all the friendly faces of Hoot Hollow began to look a little worried. "We need to find out what happened to it right away," said Olly the IL, who was wise, calm, and brave, and just so happened to be best friends with the possum family. "The moon disappearing is not normal, that's for sure, and we need to get to the bottom of this." Olly called for his forest friends to meet him by the old oak tree for an emergency midnight moon meeting. In no time at all, there they were, gathered together to figure out what had happened to the moon. "I agree, this is serious," said Beatrice Blue Jay, "but I have no idea what we can do about it." "Don't worry, Beatrice," said Olly the Owl reassuringly. "I'm sure everything will be all right. We just need to investigate and think of a plan." Taking a deep breath, Olly continued, "First, we need to split up and search for clues. Nibbles, you're coming with me. We'll check out the Whispering Woods." "Ooh, I love the Whispering Woods," squealed Nibbles, a little brown mouse with a big, brave heart. "Me first, me first, me first," he added, scampering around in circles. "Ribbit, you and Tilly go check by the sparkling river, and Pudge, Piddles, and Little Bit, you three stay here by the oak tree and look for anything you might have missed." "Okay, Olly," said the three possums in unison, feeling very grown up and important. And so the Midnight Moon team set off into the darkness, determined to solve the mystery of the missing moon. They searched high and low, but all they found was some sparkling fireflies. "Maybe they know something," suggested Tilly, the timid but sweet hedgehog. So the possums approached him and asked, "Have you seen the moon? Do you know what happened to it?" I don't know," said the fireflies, blinking their tiny lights in confusion. "All I know is that the Whispering Woods this way is glowing," added one particularly bright firefly. "Well, that sounds promising," said Pidge, who was beginning to feel brave and confident. "Let's go see what's going on." As they made their way through the trees, the possums noticed something peculiar. Many of the mushrooms along the path were glowing a soft, inviting blue. "Do you think this has something to do with the missing moon?" Little Bit asked, tilting her head from side to side. Just then, they came across a clearing, and in the middle of it sat a tiny blue mushroom house. On the roof sat a small wooden sign that read, "Home of the Gloushrooms." Suddenly, the front door opened, and out stepped a curious little mushroom person. "Welcome to the Glousroom home," he said in a deep, booming voice. "I'm here to ask you a favor. Would you please bring the moon back?" The possums were confused. "What does the moon have to do with you?" Pudge asked. "Well," said the Glousroom, "we haven't had a proper night's sleep in days. Without the moon, our magical glow doesn't work properly, and we're all very, very tired." The possums felt sorry for the Glouserooms. They knew how important the moon was to them and how helpless they were without it. "We want to help," said Piddle, "but we don't even know where to start looking." "Why don't you ask the stars?" suggested the Glouseroom. "They must know what's going on." As the possums approached the tallest tree in the Whispering Woods, they looked up and saw the brightest stars twinkling down at them. "Excuse me," called Pudge. "We're looking for the moon. Have you seen it?" "Nope," said one star. "Nope," said another. "But if you climb to the top of my branches, I'll show you exactly where it is," offered a third. Excited, the possums raced up the tree. When they reached the top, they looked out over the forest and gasped. There in the distance, floating lazily in the night sky, was the moon. "There it is," breathed a little bit. "But how can we get it back?" "Don't worry, I have an idea," said Pudge, his eyes twinkling with mischief. The possums crept closer to the moon, careful not to make too much noise. It looked big and round like a giant ball, and it was just floating above the tree. "Hey, moon, do you know how to get back to the sky?" Pudge called out. The moon bobbed up and down slowly, as if in response. Then it did something even more surprising. It began to wink at them. "Oh, I see," said Little Bit, understanding dawning on her face. "You're not lost. You're just stuck." Just then, the possums heard a familiar voice behind them. "That's right," said Olly the owl. "You're not lost. You're stuck, and I know just what to do." The possums turned and looked at Olly. "What do you mean?" Pudge asked. "Well, up in the sky there, right behind you, is a hot air balloon," explained Olly. "A hot air balloon," repeated Little Bit, confused. "What does a hot air balloon have to do with the moon?" "If you look closely," said Olly, pointing with his wing, "you'll see that the balloon has your moon trapped inside it." As the possums watched, Olly took off into the sky, higher and higher until he was almost at the balloon. "Hello!" he called out. "Can you hear me up in the balloon? Please let me out." A sleepy voice answered. "Who's there? Who's making all that racket? I can't sleep. I'm sorry to bother you," said Olly. "But you're blocking the moon and we need it back. Please, let us in." "Oh," said the sleepy voice, "I had no idea. Here, let me help you pop the balloon gently so the moon can float back to the sky where it belongs." And with that, the possums worked together, each taking turns poking a small hole in the balloon until finally it popped and the moon was free. As the moon returned to its rightful place in the sky, the animals of Hoot Hollow cheered and celebrated. The possums were hailed as heroes, and even the Glouserooms put on a spectacular light show to thank them for returning the moon. "We couldn't have done it without you," said Ribbit the frog, shaking Pudge's paw. "It was a team effort," said Tilly the hedgehog, smiling. "All right, team," said Olly the owl, chuckling. "Now let's go home. It's been a long night, and I'm sure everyone's ready for a nice long sleep now that the moon is back." And with that, the exhausted but happy Midnight Moon team headed home, knowing that together they could solve any mystery and save the day.